In the previous world of doing creative research, it usually takes probably over a span of a week to really digest what is actually working. But the version that you showed me could give us a higher level overview over a span of 30 minutes.
MCP is really like the next horizon because MCP let all of these LLMs, ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude, connect into things that aren't on the open web.
Welcome to the first episode, or the official first episode of Talk Nerdy to Me. Now, in this episode, Tame is going to take us through a Facebook ads MCP that allow us to basically shorten the creative research time down to basically 30 minutes or even less. Now, before we get started, in this episode, we will actually do a demo of the MCP. Tame will also take us through how to install it into your local machine so then you can try it for yourself. But if you're not interested in the installation, you can always jump all to the end, and then you can listen to like some of the end takeaways of this episode. Now, the other thing that I wanted to mention for housekeeping before we get started is that Teme is ex-big tech, which is like Atlassian, Amazon, and also Canva. I'm personally coming from a healthcare background, and I ran a men's health business called Pilot in Eucalyptus, and that's why you should listen to us. But without further ado, Teme, please take us away.
What are we going to kind of do today, David? Why is this MCP, this ads library thing super exciting? Like, what got this all off the ground?
Yeah, I think a big thing that we really talked about was we briefly talked about how in the previous version or the previous world of doing creative research, it meant that we have to go to different people's ads library or even use an external tool to get access to everyone's ad library and then actually watch all of the videos by ourselves to try and understand what messaging resonated, what messaging are they doubling down on, how does that change on a month-to-month basis. I think that process is pretty tedious. It usually takes a few of us, probably over a span of a week, to really digest what is actually working for whatever competitor that you're trying to do research on. But the version that you showed me probably could give us a higher level overview over a span of like, say, 30 minutes. And then we can choose to double click on which area is really important to us from a creative strategy standpoint. I also wanted to give the context that, like, yes, I'm currently running a growth team, and it's also very similar to some of the work that I did running the men's health business previously. That just requires to do creative research around what ads are people running, what are they actually saying in the ads, and that helps inform what they're spending money to try, and then that could potentially help us accelerate our own progress as well. Just to give you some context.
Yeah, I mean, how many ED pills could you have sold, or how many more could you have sold if you had this like creative research process? Like that's pretty awesome.
Yeah,
Um,
100%.
before we get into it, should we just level set and tell the folks like what's an MCP? I think we've thrown around that acronym a fair bit. People should kind of know what it is, right?
Yeah. Let's do the. Let me share my screen, and Tame, you can take it away.
Let's do it. So, folks, you remember back in the day when ChatGPT would tell you, "Hey, I don't remember this because I was only trained up until 2022." And then there was this beautiful moment where it said, "Hey, I've got up-to-date data," or it never had that constraint. MCP is really like the next horizon because MCP let all of these LLMs you see in the blue, so ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude, connect into things that aren't on the open web. So these are tools. These are things like, the LinkedIn ads library, the Google ads library, Canva, the Facebook ads library. Go and search your Gmail. It's really fascinating. And in fact, sometimes they let you act as well. Although a lot of the early tools are just about retrieving information so that the LLM can make a determination and kind of give you a result. And that's super exciting, right? Because basically what you're seeing is almost the birth of a new app store, where in the past you would have all these sort of vertical SaaS applications. Now your interface is a LLM. It's Claude, and you just chat to it the same way you chat to you have all the time, and it's just way more powerful and way more knowledgeable.
Yeah, I didn't think it was possible to interact with like LinkedIn ads or even Google Ads library. I think we had to use a bunch of external tools to. Some of it has access to Facebook Ads library, some of it has access to Google Ads, but never quite like all together to really get a unified view. It's pretty painful to try and like basically use each of the tools, go to each of the ad libraries, and especially if the business is running like hundreds or thousands of ads, that's a long grind to actually just get some perspective around what's actually working for them.
For sure. I mean, amount of time it would take to go watch it, annotate it, tag it, right? This is such a like sort of level up in terms of the capability. But
Hmm.
let's get into it. So basically what I did was I had previously developed a very rudimentary Facebook ads library MCP. I
Hmm.
went last week and kind of really iterated upon it based on David's feedback.
Woo!
And woo, it's a lot cooler. So I'm gonna do a bit of show and tell. Folks, his GitHub. If you're scared, GitHub is just a way to store your files on think of it as like basically a file management for software, right? And you have this thing called a repo, which is a self-contained thing. So under the hood, we have this Facebook Ads Library MCP. This is a README. Every GitHub should have a README or a well-documented README. It
Hmm.
explains what it is, and then it goes through how to basically install it. Now, I know this looks scary, but this is actually really simple, and I've tried to make it as easy as possible.
Mm.
Under the hood, what we have is first you have to go and find a way to install or bring this file onto your local device, right?
Mm.
That's what Git clone does. It brings it onto your local device. Now you might need to create a GitHub account for this, or there are ways to do this through the GitHub desktop account. There's a lot of explanations out there, but I think an easy way to do it is just to pull up your terminal and go do that. Then the second thing you want to do is actually move into that folder and actually move into this part. So then you can start doing all those fun actions you want to do. So I'm going to
Hmm.
take a minute and actually share my screen. We're going to get into Cursor, we're going to get into Claude and actually go through this process. What we have here is these two automated files I've already built into the GitHub repo. These basically tell in command line exactly what you need to do. So you just copy in that command from GitHub, which is install.sh or install.bat if you're on Windows desktop, and it will automatically install all of your dependencies, all of these different things that go behind the scenes to make it work, and it spins up what is called a virtual environment. That's basically just imagine a small operating system, tiny, tiny micro operating system within your device to make it happen.
Hmm.
That's super exciting. It's super useful. Now, the next really important thing is what you call your env file, .env or .environment. So here we have a template version of this. Now, this is where you put your secrets, right? So even in traditional software development, you have kind of these secret files. Developers never post them anywhere. This is a place that tells GitHub that it shouldn't ever upload these secrets up until GitHub into GitHub. Also, if you're using Claude Code or Cursor, it will never have access to this here. But it just
Yeah.
makes everything work together. Now, the two secrets you need are your Script Creators API key and your Gemini API key. Now, we have that in the
Mm.
GitHub repo, but you just have to go to the website. You can see here I've got comments. Sign up and just copy and paste your API key. And then you go into Gemini and you do the same thing as well with AI Studio. And all you have to do is basically change this from .env template, so the same way you would in your file system, rename, you go .env template, and you just remove the .template, and you have a .env file. Now, I
Are
have
we
one here you
using
can see.
are we using Gemini
Sorry?
or are we using
Yeah.
Claude?
So, yeah, good call out here. So under the hood, this MCP has a lot of capabilities, right? The first thing that it does is it connects into Claude so you can ask your questions. It then
Mm.
uses Scrape Creators, which is this third-party scraping service, to access the ad libraries. Now, one of the limitations is that Claude cannot look at videos. So what I've built into this MCP is the capability for Gemini to look at the videos and give those sort of responses back to Claude so it can make sense of your questions.
That's pretty great. Also, just for everyone else's sanity's sake, if you want to skip this entire tutorial section and just understand what are the outcomes and how to use the MCP, I'm gonna leave the chapters below, and you can just jump to that instead.
Now, the final thing you then have to do is once you get those API keys is actually add into your Claude desktop or cursor config. Now, there's a million explanations out there. People need a deeper dive. I think, David, we can do probably a deep explanation, but you basically have to copy this config into your Claude desktop. Now, I want to just take a beat and actually explain what are the two MCP servers that we have. The first is a Facebook Ads Library MCP. This has a number of tools, but basically under the hood, it's searching for a brand, getting all their ads, and then basically creating a local server on a local SQLite sort of capability on your device so that you're being really efficient with a number of API calls because API calls is money and you want to be really efficient about it.
Hmm.
And then it lets Claude or Gemini actually analyze the images or videos for visual text elements. Under the hood, I've actually gone and told Gemini and Claude, here are the important things to look at. Thanks, David, for a lot of advice there. On here are the important things to look at that make up an ad. So here's a text hook, here's an audio hook, here's a visual hook. Really, really important, interesting things. Now, it does this for Facebook, and then we have a separate one for Google. So it'll get Google ads, Google ad details, and analyze images and videos. Now, the really exciting thing that you're going to see in the demo coming up is the fact that you don't need to use these tools individually. You don't need to go to tab one and use Google ads, and you don't need to go into tab two and use Facebook ads. You can just let Claude figure it out, and it will dynamically call upon everything that it needs. All right, so you now have your MCP set up in Claude. Let's get
Hmm.
cracking. David, what brand should we analyze first?
Well, we're already on Claude, so let's do Anthropic first, and then maybe we can do a couple of competitors after.
All right, so I actually have some kind of semi pre-baked here. Um, I'm going to just kick it off, but we can talk about the prompt in a second. So
Hmm.
imagine you're an elite performance creative strategist. So we're trying to explain what the role is. We've gone, this is the brand, Anthropic AI. I've cheated a little bit and put the platform ID. That's because it can be a little bit glitchy in the back end, but generally you can kind of prompt and go back and forth. I just want to give a one shot sort of
Hmm.
example.
Mm.
We've given it some context that the makers of Claude, because they might not be pointing ads to Anthropic, but they might be pointing them to Claude. And then basically, here's some of the questions. Are they running static based video? What are the hero features, use cases, target audience? How has this shifted? Give an existing summary. Why is
Mm.
this so, like, in sort of like, two lines, why is this so useful, David?
I think for me currently, the biggest thing running a growth marketing team or just a growth team in general is sometimes you want to get some understanding around what your competitors might be running in terms of both ads and especially like what messaging that they're running. Um, and generally we start with Facebook, just mostly because like Facebook advertising, the cost of advertising is reasonably low. It's very low stakes. So you want to use that as your testing environment, and then once you get some conviction around what messaging really resonates with people and therefore they take action, you want to take that and then graduate it in a higher stakes environment, like for example, Google Ads, where the cost of advertising is actually higher. And then if you do have the luxury of running LinkedIn ads in the future, then you want to take some of the insights from both of these channels where you have conviction that some messaging really resonates, and then you move that across to LinkedIn ads. Generally, I haven't really talked to that many people where they do testing on LinkedIn specifically, because you would have done a lot of testing over in Facebook. But really, what I'm trying to capture here is that this entire process of trying to understand what messaging works for this company across these channels used to be done by either multiple people, where we just kind of have to grind through all of the ad libraries or use some kind of external tools and watch all of the ads and just trying to get an idea around like what messaging that they're testing, what messaging actually potentially works based on how long it's been in the ad library, which is always which isn't necessarily like the best indicator, but it's one indicator. And then from there, you try and synthesize all of the information down to some key insights that they are testing. And then you can make a decision around, are you doing that? If you're not doing that, should we be doing that? And that process can usually take like maybe days or even weeks. And doing this, that essentially allows us to save a crap ton of time and kind of condense it into 30 minutes, which then allows the team, the creative team, to make a decision around, do we want to do more research on this particular competitor or even messaging? I think that's a huge time saver, because this entire research process isn't that good use of time, but you're kind of forced to do it just mostly because you're trying to understand whether you're on the right path when it comes to messaging tests. That's my key takeaway here around just like condensing that amount of like processing and the amount of time that's required to do the research down to like say 20, 30 minutes. And then we can actually make a decision on whether we want to invest more time in researching some of the messaging that they're testing.
Yeah, I mean, that's super exciting. Before, like, a bit of a tease, you can see the executive summary down here. I wanted to explain what was happening underneath the hood. So underneath, the MCP has a number of tools. Claude is going ahead and calling on those tools. So you can see here, it's taken the platform ID, gotten 50 ads, which is successfully retrieved. It's done the same for Google. It's found a number of ads over there from the Transparency Center. It's then got the details of individual ads, and then it's
That's
done
pretty
something
cool.
pretty cool and exciting here, where Claude has gone and analyzed the images based on its a sort of a small downloaded version and subset and made a determination. So, here's a media URL, here's a response. It's taken a bunch of like instructions that I've sent before, and then
That's pretty
pulled
cool.
out some actual outputs. It's done the same for video. So this is now
Whoa.
Claude has gone to Gemini and said, I need this information, and it's returned in some analysis. So here's a breakdown of the scenes. Here's what's happening. Here's where the eyes are. Here's the text, video, audio hook, some really exciting stuff. And it's pulled an actual very quick analysis. So it's pulled 53 ads. Media mix is 92% static, 8% video. It's very focused on Claude Code, which is fascinating. Um, core value pops, treats your code base with care. That's interesting. That's not
Okay.
something I'd expect. Hero use cases, bug detection, architectural changes, going faster, very focused on developers and creative professionals, especially
Mm,
data scientists. That's odd. Hey, musicians and producers, EQ and optimization.
that's
Um,
interesting. Okay. Wow.
the messaging evolution. Yeah, what's interesting here for you, David?
Oh, the messaging evolution is probably like the most compelling thing because like the we used to spend heaps of time every month and just try and document what is some of the competitors like doubling down on, and then every month we'll do the same thing and be like, is this still the same as last month? How wait, tell me how are they doing this? How is Claude how's this MCP getting the previous focus? Is that by the timestamp?
Yeah,
Um
so it's pulling the timestamps of when those ads went live, and then basically like comparing over time. So it probably looked at a bunch of ads in March, a sample of ads in March, a sample of ads in you know June, May, June, and whatever have you to kind of get a good sense. Now I'm on Claude Pro, so it's trying to constrain down how many things that goes in reviews because there's like a context window constraint. If you go to
mm,
Claude Max 200, basically unlimited, you're talking about it will just do everything. You go away, make a cup of coffee, and you just got something ready to go. And then you can just chat back and forth and you can kind of constrain it down, ask follow up questions. Some of the capabilities we have in those MCPs, you can ask for specific links and go and view those creatives as well. So you can ask for citations where possible as well.
That's are we gonna try that this demo,
Yeah,
or
let's
will
do
we
it.
try that later?
Let's do it. No, let's do it now. Can you give some links to the ads on Meta and Google for Claude Code?
This is also like in terms of detail, like it's good enough detail at a high level for me to double click on. I mean, like the target
Yeah,
audience is super interesting. If you go up a little bit, the messaging strategy, like that evolution, is probably like the most compelling thing to me. And then if you scroll down a little bit, the competitive positioning.
yeah.
How is this
Mm.
MCP
I'm not sure if I'm
getting?
buying that. It's making a bit of a decision, or maybe in those ads it has picked up that it has called out competitors and tried to
Mm,
separate itself.
oh, I see. I see.
I'm curious about that. You can ask it to validate. So here we go. It's already got some links. So active Claude Code ads. It's going to ask me to open it. Here we've got a link to the
Oh,
ad
that is
already.
sick. Holy
Mm-hmm.
shit.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome.
I can ask for some meta ads as well. Usually it does a pretty decent job of this. Give to meta ad links as well.
Wow.
And you can literally just chat back and forth. Like you're seeing live how this is happening.
I
Keyword.
feel bad because I used to have to just go to the ad library and I don't know.
Okay.
I feel like, wow, I feel so old and bad.
Here we go. And like I'm just gonna like obviously speed ahead, but here we go. What's the architecture of this project? Is written in a very interesting like terminal style that's gonna speak to developers. Um,
Developers.
that's that's fascinating, right?
That's
Um,
cool.
but you
Wait,
you, you
we
asked.
can we try
Mhm.
one where it's like the musician? Like I just want to know if that's actually true, where it's like
Okay.
they're targeting the musician.
So there's two ways we can try. We can try number one.
Yeah, yeah,
Sometimes you
yeah.
can ask it
Yes.
to explain. You can ask it to explain. Give an example ad for. This is curious. I'm fascinated. Sometimes you can ask it to explain. I don't know why that's not coming at it.
Holy shit.
Format 20-second video, go from concept to video. Shows a music producer using Claude to analyze an 808 basic waveform.
Wait, can we please click on the link? I just want to see it.
Yeah, I'm curious. It's not going to open the link. For some reason, it's having, you're seeing things raw team. It's not able to pull up the link itself. So
Okay.
that is interesting. Sometimes they just can't construct the link. Um, we could probably keep going back and forth, but I think I just don't want to keep going there. But yeah, definitely citations are possible. And in fact, let's see if we can pull the ad ID. No,
Oh.
it did.
Oh, here we go.
Whoa. Dude, it was not hallucinating. Like I think it was
Yeah,
limited
that's
in its
great.
capability to produce it, but that's mind blowing. That was an angle we would never have picked, right?
Yeah.
Like,
There's no yeah, there's no way. That's pretty sick.
um,
I will jump straight to that. I mean, like this. Yeah, this is absolutely awesome.
should we do a bit of a head to head now for Claude against maybe two of its competitors?
Yeah, let's do a head to head. Let's just do the obvious. Let's do OpenAI, and then let's do Perplexity.
Cool. All right. I think I have a prompt ready to go. So now do the same for Perplexity AI and OpenAI. Give them as a succinct, make it 5 dot points. I'm gonna keep it tight. Run. This is gonna
That's
be very interesting to
incredible.
see the difference in positioning, right?
Yeah, I mean, like that's absolutely incredible. That like the amount of time that it took to actually get that insight around Claude is spending a bit of time to start to target, create like music, like music professionals. Would have never expected that, right? Um, that
It's wild.
insight's awesome, absolutely
Yeah.
awesome.
While this is running, like, let's just look at some of the other insights. Like, is there anything curious? So, music, creative technologist, like, that's interesting.
Oh
I found it
wait.
really fascinating. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, so if you scroll up a little bit, like this is interesting because bug detection, like if you scroll up a little bit,
Yeah.
yeah, so the hero use case on bug detection, I think Cursor recently came out with something on bug bot or whatever it's
Okay.
named, like this whole like hypothesis around like AI written code with tons of bugs. Like this seems like a new thing on bug detection, or I'm not sure, or maybe like Claude has been running it this entire time. That like that's pretty cool. That's
I
able
think,
to detect
I,
that as
I
a
I think
bug
for I
use
think for
case.
a while, these AI LLMs, these coding agents, have actually introduced a lot of bugs. So now they're trying to like point out a
Mm,
point of differentiation. So it's
hopefully
actually
first.
interesting. We see the you would think like level one, it's very easy to market Claude Code and say you're going to get feature development in time and velocity
Yeah,
enhancement. But then they've actually gone really specific with bug detection, which I find fascinating.
yeah.
The other thing I find really fascinating is they've gone from focusing on broad platform capabilities right into
Mm.
Claude Code, and being very, very specific.
Yeah, there seems to be
Um,
like basically like a um ideal customer profile shift from like basically this very general use case into like hardcore engineering, selling straight to engineering teams. Um, I mean,
Here we
that's just
go.
really good. That's just like really good context also for consumer product companies, like CPGs, where like what use case are people like actually doubling down on? Um, that's super useful.
Wait, hang on. What are we seeing here? So it's just popped this out. It's got 50 meta ads, 10 Google ads. So very social media focused, influencer led, top 5 AI tools. WhatsApp uses an Arabic market.
Wait,
That
really?
is so specific. Messaging for OpenAI ChatGPT, free access emphasis, all the images you want to create. Um, this is wild.
I have to say, this
I,
is better than I expected. This is better than I expected.
You're welcome, mate. Like I really hacked away on this. Your feedback was great. Like you can see here, like if we just go down to like Anthropic seems like very developer trust focused. It's actually very almost B2B.
Mm,
Perplexity is like let's like going head to head with Google, and
I
then
mean, that makes
OpenAI is
sense.
like kind of this creativity tool. But I mean, you could see how like OpenAI would converge with Anthropic with like the musician element. Um, very video content. Like all the competitors are much more video focused.
Mm.
There's a lot of localization. I didn't really see localization be a key focus in Anthropic. Maybe they're later in their like they're earlier in their journey. This is really wild.
Or maybe like engineering teams is mostly coding in some version of English anyway. So then it's just like
That's true.
I made that up. I'm not sure. Like
Yeah,
that
who
could just be
knows?
something that's not important. I think it's like interesting to me that like OpenAI's messaging focus is on the creative end.
Yeah,
Um, that's very unexpected for me personally, and also the fact that they're focusing on the like they're actually targeting the Indian market, Spanish speakers. That's incredibly specific, and I'm wondering whether just the Claude is condensing the key insights down to like that's something that like they're currently focusing on. Um, like that's really cool to know, and
it could
also
just be
like
a volume. It could be a volume game. Like it could be like under the hood, looking at like they're running a lot more ads over there and pushing spend, even if that's not like what their key focus is as a marketing org, right? Like
yeah.
it'll be prone to the same things or same mistakes that we would make as a human, right?
Mm, 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 mm. Yeah, this is incredible. I think like I would love for other people to kind of give this a run for its money and see like what else like you could add to this that would make this like really compelling.
Mhm.
But I can already see some really good opportunities where um, if I see that there's some messaging angles that is shifting, and like if my competitors are doubling down on a particular use case and I'm currently not, then the broader question is like, why am I not? And whether that's
Yeah.
valuable to me. So I'm not caught off guard. Um, Obviously, I'm not always looking at competitors, but like I also don't want to turn a blind eye to like something that's working for them, and then like, I'm not doing it. Then like I'm kind of the dumbass.
Exactly. I mean, do you have another question we want to ask? I think like we can probably get a third one out of this demo.
Yeah. Can we? Is there a way that we can turn this into like a artifact, so then I can just like find an easy way to share this with my team?
Great. Yeah, let's do that. So here, turn it into an artifact. Now, artifacts are really cool because they become basically these like small web pages that exist the same way like a Notion page does, but within
Mm.
Claude that you can then forward to your team. And sometimes they can be basically interactive as well. So you can see live here, it's actually coding it. We're gonna let it
That's
do.
great.
We'll fast forward through this segment, but at the end of it, it doesn't take too long. We'll get something quite cool that we can demo. Here we go. So the style it leaves a little bit to ask for, but it's actually done a quick sort of breakdown. Anthropic, 8% video, 53 ads, developers, AI that treats your code base with care, Perplexity, 70%. Now you can obviously ask it to give in more information, but we said like keep it really short but clear. This is like a little scorecard you could just drop in a channel on a Monday, right? If you're
Yeah.
sitting at one of these three companies and go, this is how we rate against everyone else.
Yeah. Is it wait, is there I mean this is pretty sick, and like I would personally love an update like this on like Mondays. Is there any way to kind of automate that into a Slack channel?
So right now with Claude, you're not able to do that. ChatGPT does have the capability to schedule tasks.
Mm.
Um, I don't know if you can get that into a Slack channel. This is where we're like sitting on the coal face where like there's some UI that has to be built in by these different, providers. But I don't imagine that like a couple months from now you won't be able to go send an email to all of my team members because there'll be an MCP connection to your email. And you could probably make it happen from you,
Mm.
right? Like that becomes really wild.
That's cool. I mean, if you can get it into email, then you can probably get it into Slack because like we can
Yeah.
just use Zapier or something.
Yeah.
But this is a huge. I mean, like even like the artifact, the research. I think like that gives like a lot of threads that I probably want to pull a little bit more with my team. I think like that's really really awesome. So in the beginning of this episode, we really talked about like how we can shorten up the creative research time from like basically potentially like days, multiple people, into like just over 30 minutes, under 30 minutes, and then actually choose to pull in particular threads. A final question, to you, Tame, is that where what can we expect to see, from this point onwards? Like, how would a technology like MCP with Facebook ads evolve? Does it get into more ad libraries and then like therefore we'll have like very comprehensive information? Where do you think this might go, and how would teams like benefit from that?
I think it's like on twofold. So it's on the MCP side, so we get more ad libraries, connect into your own ad data, so you can ask
Mm,
for it to do like head to head. Maybe you can even connect into creative tools and go, okay, here's my brand kit. Go and create 10 creatives based on what my competitors are running and upload it ready for me in a draft state. Or, hey, just go and run it based on my framework for testing that you probably can infer from my ads. That's pretty wild when you think about it.
mm.
The second thing is on the LLM side. So you already touched upon it before. Smarter models make smarter decisions. They call upon tools in a much smarter way. You can schedule tasks. All of that is very, very possible.
That's awesome. I think like we probably have a few more cool demos and things that we want to talk about in the next couple of episodes. So if any of you do have suggestions on things that you want us to cover, or even topics you'd like us to cover, I think you can leave it in the comment section below, and then like we will cover it in the future. Until next time, thank you so much for watching the officially first episode of Talk Nerdy to Me, and see you very soon.